Alright, Stevie J here from Glove Up or Shut Up, AngryMarks.com and the Wrestling Observer. And first, let's just get this out of the way. In the main event, I gave rounds 2, 3, and 5 to GSP. Now, I know what you're saying right now. How could you give GSP round 2? He got hurt, he got blasted, he was in trouble, but that actually seemed to wake GSP up. When he got hit that hard, he actually started striking better. He started landing his left hooks, he started using his jab effectively. And if you look at the striking statistics that they showed on the screen during the round, GSP actually landed more strikes overall compared to Hendricks. So it really hinges on whether or not you thought Hendricks or GSP won the second round. And the judges, they rendered a decision 48-47 times 2 for GSP and 48-47 for Hendricks. So, in a very close fight, GSP retains the welterweight title, but not without some controversy and some booing in Las Vegas, and Hendricks claiming he got robbed and the belt was his and he deserves it. But what's even more interesting about that is GSP in his post-fight interview said he had some personal things going on in his life and he needs to hang up the gloves and step away for a little while. And Joe Rogan kept asking him over and over again, "Are you done? Are you retiring?" And GSP was very non-committal on that. He would only say, "I just need to go away for a little bit and thank you to all of my fans." So, what's going on here? Is the title being vacated, or is GSP keeping it and fighting for it again at a later date? And will Hendricks get a rematch? He certainly thinks he deserves one, and, well, since it was a split decision, he's got an argument. And that first round, he definitely won it. And in the fourth round, there's no question he won it either, because GSP tripped, it's his own fault, but Hendricks capitalized on it and really busted him up with the ground and pound. So 2 of those rounds definitely went Hendricks' way. And again, it's all up to whether or not you think he won round 2. I didn't think he did. 2 out of 3 judges didn't think Hendricks won round 2. So GSP retains by a narrow margin. But let's get into the rest of these results from UFC 167. The co-main event was Chael Sonnen and Rashad Evans, and it was not Chael's day as he got walloped and got finished on the ground with strikes at 4:05 of the first round. But both guys were very complimentary to each other after the fight, saying that they'll still work together as broadcasters and they'll still be friends. And Rashad even admitted it's hard to punch somebody you like, but that's the sport, that's what we have to do, and it puts me one step closer to getting my title back. Well, he's still 2 or 3 steps behind because it's going to be Glover Teixeira fighting John Jones, but he's in the mix. Lawler had it wasn't a great fight early on, but it turned into a great fight in the third round because they went toe-to-toe with each other for the last 5 minutes, and Robbie Lawler was outstriking him for most of the fight, and he got 2 or 3 judges to agree with that assessment, 29-28, with McDonald getting a 28-29 his way. So Robbie Lawler defeats him and shakes things up in the welterweight division behind GSP and Hendricks. So McDonald's going to be moving down, and Lawler's definitely going to be moving up from number 10. And in what might be the swan song of Josh Koscheck, at least in UFC, Tyrone Woodley knocks him out at 4:38 of the first round. Koscheck just didn't look like he had anything here. Tyrone Woodley was all over him from the very beginning of this fight. Koscheck didn't get takedowns. He couldn't do anything to Woodley. He just got crunched. And Ali Bagatinov in the other pay-per-view fight defeated Tim Elliott 29-28 times 2 and 30-27. A very solid showing for Bagatinov, who was never really in any trouble. Tim Elliott just was trying hard, but he just seemed a step slower, and every time they exchanged, Bagatinov was landing big shots. So Tim Elliott was trying to bait him by dropping his hands and, like, come on, bring it, but that wasn't working. Bagatinov was just able to keep the range and outstrike him. Donald Cerrone won the main event of the Fox Sports 1 prelims with a triangle choke at 3:49 of the second round. A very exciting finish to a otherwise lackluster Fox Sports 1 broadcast, and Cerrone made sure to emphasize this point by saying, "GSP and Hendricks 20th anniversary, y'all buy that pay-per-view, it's coming up next." So hopefully a lot of people did. Talis Ladies defeated Ed Herman 30-27 across the board. Ladies was probably looking to finish it at a couple of times, but it was a weird fight in that Kim Winslow, in one of her many questionable calls of the night, actually kicked a hand away from Ed Herman for grabbing the fence, and then when Ladies got the takedown and was working on the ground, she called for more work and threatened to stand him up. Excuse me, lady, you knocked away the hand to enable the takedown, and now you're telling him he's not doing enough on the ground? but she had an even more questionable call earlier. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, Tala's Ladies was 30-27 across the board from all the judges, so he was fairly dominant in this fight. Rick Story and Brian Eversole, speaking of fairly dominant, 30-27 for the Horror Story. And a lesson to Brian Eversole: if you cut an arrow into your chest hair pointing up at your chin, you're just giving your opponent a target to hit. And Story hit it over and over and over again. He couldn't finish him, but he definitely outpunched him. Eric Perez got a unanimous decision over Edwin Figueroa, 30-27 across the board. We had a lot of unanimous decisions here. What was really mind-boggling about this fight was with about 10 seconds left to go in the second round, Perez had a dominant position and was going for a submission, and Kim Winslow stood them up. Now, arguably, it was academic because Perez wouldn't have gotten the submission with short time anyway, but why would you stand up a fighter in a dominant position? Don't understand the logic there, especially when he's going for a submission. Winslow needs to be retrained on what to look for during a fight because she clearly doesn't have a clue. In our prelim Facebook YouTube action, Jason High defeated Anthony Lapsley 29-28 across the board. Sergio Pettis won his UFC debut against Will Campazano 30-27 times 2 and 29-28. Although I saw a good chance of it going 29-28 the other way because I thought Campazano out-wrestled him in at least one of those rounds with takedowns, but I just don't see why two judges think that Sergio Pettis won all 3 rounds. I think that's overly generous. And in our very opening fight of the night, Gian Villante defeated Cody Donovan at 122 of the second round with a TKO. So that's your 20th anniversary UFC results. I'm Stevie J for Glove Up or Shut Up, Wrestling Observer, and AngryMarks.com.